Yeah, when it comes to camping, I am a pretty lazy sort of fella. I don't come out to the bush to work and spend all my time setting up a camp. I want to do as little of that as I possibly can. And over the years, I've come up with a whole bunch of tips and tricks that make me a bit lazy, but make me enjoy myself a little bit more. And I'd like to share my top 10 of those with you today. And you've probably heard of a couple of them if you go through the whole list, but I can guarantee I haven't seen anyone else come up with my take on the last couple. A couple of very common problems that everyone has, and I've never heard anyone come up with these sorts of solutions, so you might want to stick around for that. And as always on YouTube, I'll probably have a bonus one at the end as well. So yeah, top 10, hopefully we'll get it done in 10 minutes, but I tend to waffle on, so let's see how we go. Let's get into it. Okay, tip number 1. Use a ground sheet. Now, one of the biggest things that's going to cause you to do a lot more work than you need to is having a dirty or wet swag. So, putting a ground sheet down to keep the bottom of your swag clean is a big help, particularly when it comes to packing up. And, not only that, a ground sheet gives you space to put your shoes, make a coffee, do all that sort of stuff, so you don't have to bring dirt and crap into your swag either. So, yeah, using a ground sheet, it's probably the most fundamental tip you can have. But it makes a big difference, especially when you come to packing up and your swag's nice and clean. On a similar sort of note, my second tip is to use a tarp. If you've got any chance of rain or any chance of condensation, put up a tarp. If your swag gets wet, you're going to get wet. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't open up these doors when it's pouring rain and get into your swag without water getting in here. It just doesn't work. And you've got to try and take your boots off, take off a jacket, all that sort of crap. It just makes perfect sense to put a second layer up above you. Not only does it keep the water from getting into your swag, it actually stops the water from getting onto your swag, which means that when you come to pack up and roll it up the next morning, your swag's not wet, and then you don't have to air it out and dry it out at home, which is a big pain in the ass. So yeah, if you take away nothing else from this video, those 2 fundamental tips are the ones you want to remember. Use a ground sheet to keep the dirt and water from the bottom. Use a tarp to keep it from above, and your swag will be nice and dry. You'll be nice and dry inside, and when you come to pack it up at the end of the day, you won't be packing up a wet, muddy swag. Yeah, great tips. Okay, tip 3. We've all tried to open up a swag door like this, and we've all looked like a Gumby doing it. And the funny thing is, we try it again. It fails, and then we try it again, and it doesn't work again, and we still look like a Gumby, and everyone's laughing at us, it's looking at us. So yeah, here's a great tip to open up a a swag door, and the same goes for tent doors as well. Don't just roll it up from the bottom. Fold in the edges, fold in the corners like this and make a triangle, and then roll it up from the bottom of the triangle. It stays put when you get there on one side. You can latch it up on one side and then move over, latch it up the other, and it doesn't fall down. Great little tip. Makes you look like you know what you're doing, and stops people from laughing at you because you always look silly when you do it. Yeah, great little tip. Okay, tip number 4. Always bring some essential oils or some eucalyptus oil or something like that, and keep it in your swag. Swags are synonymous with fires and smoke and dust and dirt and sweat and all of that sort of stuff. None of it is pleasant. But it gets in your swag, and your swag gets musty, it gets damp, it gets dusty, it gets all of those things, and you can air it out and do all those sorts of things at home, but most of the time it spends itself rolled up in a bag in a shed, and it's not the freshest thing when you come to go camping next time. So if you've got some oils in your swag, just first thing you do when you open it up, just sprinkle a few drops around. Makes all the difference. You get a great head start on getting rid of that little musty smell that goes after a while, but some eucalyptus oil or some scented oils makes a big difference. I have heard no one else talk about this. I think it's one of the best things you can do, and if you follow that little tip, you'll be amazed at the difference it makes to your swag. Okay, tip 5. Condensation sucks. Your breath is 80% humidity. You're basically slowly filling your swag up with water when you're breathing. You're just simply going to sleep and breathing, you will fill your swag up with water. Same with tents. And if you zip down this door and lock it all in, it's got nowhere to go. So tip number 5, always leave this big canvas door open. It allows breeze to come through. The end bits are okay, but they're not enough, generally speaking. If you've got this shut down and the whole place locked in, and I get it gets cold, you want to make sure you're nice and snug, but better to use an extra better sleeping bag than to wake up and get wet. Being cold is one thing, but being cold and wet is another. That is the pits. So avoid condensation. Keep this big canvas door open. You don't have to be wide open like this, just open a little bit. It'll just allow the air to come through and you won't have any problems with condensation. And a couple of bonuses as well. If you've got the door open like this, when the kangaroos and things go bouncing past you, which they do, you get to see them. It's magnificent, and you get to see the stars at night. So you don't go camping to just be bundled up in a bag. So you want to enjoy what your surroundings are providing. So leave the door open, and you'll be a lot happier, a lot drier, and you'll be have that problem of condensation when you wake up and there's dripping on you inside your tent is the pits, or inside your swag. You can avoid that. Leave your door open. Okay, my next tip, very quick one. Glow-in-the-dark toggles. Put them on all your zippers. When it's dark, makes a big difference when you try to get out and go and take a waze. You're welcome. And talking about taking a waze, my next tip is always have a pee container handy. Literally cost you nothing. They're like a couple of bucks on Amazon, and at 2 o'clock in the morning when it's freezing cold and you're snug in your sleeping bag or under a nice big quilt, the last thing you want to do is get up, put on some shoes, go wander off and take a waze, and then come back, get back into your sleeping bag and get all that sort of stuff. No. Much better. Just have a little pee bottle in your swag. It also works for hammocks and all those sorts of things. It's just a great little idea. Just remember, when you use it, put it back outside. The last thing you want to do is kick that sucker over in the middle of the night. Great little tip. Just helps you keep warm and not have to get up and wake up properly. You can just do your thing and then get on with going back to sleep. Great little tip. Okay, tip number 8 relates to these fiberglass poles. They will break if you mistreat them. If you roll your swag up and put it in the canvas bag and then put all your poles in afterwards, there's only a very thin layer of canvas protecting them, and your swag will roll around on the booty in the back of your ute. So what you should do is, when you're rolling your swag up, do the first roll, then put your poles in, so you're rolling your swag around your poles, so you give them that extra layer of protection, and then when you put it in your bag, they will come out and they'll be perfectly fine every single time. And a bonus tip here, always chuck in a couple of guy lines, some tent pegs for the end, anything else you need, just roll it up inside the swag and it's all ready to go. When you get to camp, you can just roll it out and everything you need right there. It's a great little tip. I hear about people breaking these things all the time, and I've had this swag for years now and I've never once broken one, not even come close. So great little tip. Roll them up inside the swag. But tip 9, sagging sides to double swags. I see lots of videos of people whinging about it. I see lots of videos of people with makeshift solutions to it. My solution, the best solution, and I haven't heard anyone else use it, is don't buy a double swag. If you need a double swag, if you've got 2 people, and I get that, people will do it, buy one with the centre pole. All of the solutions that I see people come up with, I've seen people using pool noodles, makeshift poles, putting extra guy lines out, all of these things. It just makes your swag look stupid and you're putting another pole in, essentially. So just buy one with a pole if you need a double swag. It'll drive you nuts getting in and out around it, I get that, but at least it won't look stupid. So great little tip. If you need a double swag, buy one with a middle pole. Simple as that. Don't cut corners expecting to save a few dollars and then whinge about the fact that it's going to sag, because that's what they're going to do. The one brand in particular, which I won't name, that everyone seems to complain about, but they all do it. Even this does sag a little bit, and it's only a 3/4. It might be a little bit controversial, as is tip number 10, seasoning a swag. If you don't know what seasoning a swag is, swag's a canvas. They need to, like the seams, need to be wet and then dry, wet and dry to expand around the sewing marks. That's what seasoning does. So you've got to spend all your time, soaking your swag, drying it out, soaking it again, drying it out, soaking it again. Like I said, I'm lazy. And it is 2025 now, and we have technology. This swag came with seams all sealed, just like tents. You know, you don't buy a car ready to paint. So why the hell would you buy a swag that doesn't keep the water out? They have one job: keep you dry. Why would you buy a swag in 2025 that needs to be seasoned? So yeah, that's the best tip. Don't buy a swag that needs to be seasoned. You can buy them without it. This one, I've had it for 5-6 years now. It's been out in the rain, never leaks, never does anything, because they sealed the seams. So yeah, don't worry about seasoning your swag. Just buy one that's already seasoned. You don't season tents. Why would you need to season a swag? It's not 1905. So yeah, that's my top 10 tips. But this wouldn't be YouTube unless I had a bonus tip for you. And that comes down to reading or watching a movie or anything like that in your swag. Like, if anyone who's listening to this and watching this knows that it takes about 2 seconds of holding a book or a Kindle or an iPad up in front of yourself reading to get a freezing cold fingers. So, great little tip is to tie a bit of paracord or a bit of cable between the two fly screen tie-ups, and you can hang your iPad on there and read. Set it to scroll, and you can read like that without having your fingers up in front of you. Great little tip. Keeps your fingers nice and warm so you can stay all snug. Same with when you're watching a movie. You can just put it on and just lie back and enjoy it. So yeah, that's my bonus tip, and that's it for this video. So thanks for joining me. Hope it was done in 10 minutes. I'll see if I can cut it. I know I tend to waffle a bit, but I'll try and cut it down to 10 minutes if I can. But yeah, until next time, stay safe.